Chapter 1. The Dopamine Trap. I used to believe that if I just worked a little harder, read a little more, and stayed a little more plugged into the world, I would eventually arrive at that mythical place called peace. For years, my mornings looked exactly like millions of others. Before my feet even touched the warm wood of the bedroom floor, my hand would instinctively reach out in the dark, fumbling for the glowing rectangle on the nightstand. In the quiet sanctity of dawn, a time ancient mystics called the ambrosial hours, when the veil between the physical and the spiritual is thinnest, I was not greeting the divine. I was greeting my notifications. I would open my eyes to a flood of emails, the curated highlight reels of strangers, and the jarring, bright red banners of breaking news. Within 60 seconds of waking, my heart rate would elevate. A subtle, invisible tension would wrap around my chest. I hadn't even had my morning coffee, yet my nervous system was already bracing for impact, vibrating at the frantic frequency of a world in crisis. Perhaps you know this feeling. It is the quiet, creeping exhaustion that doesn't come from physical labor, but from an endlessly fractured attention span. It's the sensation of being everywhere and nowhere at once. I used to see this as just the cost of doing business in the modern world. But now I've come to feel and entirely understand that this is a profound spiritual and biological hijacking. We are inadvertently giving away our greatest creative, our focus. There was a specific morning, sitting on the edge of my bed with the blue light casting long shadows across the room, when a quiet voice within me finally whispered, "Enough." I realized I was living in a state of reaction rather than creation. I was trapped in what we now call the dopamine loop, and it was draining the very life force required to manifest my true desires. Rewiring your reality. To understand why this trap is so devastating and how miraculously quickly you can break free from it, we have to look at the elegant intersection where your biology meets the quantum field. We are not merely meat and bones navigating a random universe. We are electromagnetic beings, broadcasting a signature into the world every single second. As Dr. Joe Dispenza beautifully illustrates through his work in neuroscience, where we place our attention is where we place our energy. When you wake up and immediately surrender your focus to a distressing news article or a social media feed, you are signaling to your brain to fire the exact same neural pathways associated with lack, fear, or comparison. According to the law of neuroplasticity, nerve cells that fire together wire together. By repeating this digital habit every day, you are literally hardwiring your brain to anticipate stress, and your body begins to chemically memorize this state of anxiety. You become addicted to the very frequency that drains you. But the beautiful truth is that intention acts as a magnetic field. Wayne Dyer taught us that the universe is a loving, creative, and abundant source, and we are an extension of that source. When you are aligned with this field, life flows. Things arrive without force. However, when your brain is bathed in the chaotic, disjointed dopamine spikes of endless scrolling, you drop out of coherence. Your heart and brain fall out of sync. You step out of the slipstream of universal intention and into the turbulent waters of survival mode. The universal laws governing our lives, made famous by thinkers like Rhonda Byrne, remind us that like attracts like. Your dominant thoughts, and more importantly, your dominant feelings, are the energetic order you are placing with the universe. If your morning scroll leaves you feeling inadequate, fearful, or perpetually restless, then your wish is my command. Here is more inadequacy, more fear, more restlessness. Neville Goddard gave us the ultimate key to bypassing this chaotic outer world. Assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Goddard taught that consciousness is the one and only reality. If you want to change your outer world, you must first change your inner state. You must live from the end. But how can you possibly assume the feeling of a peaceful, abundant, joyful life if your nervous system is being constantly hijacked by the dopamine extraction machines in your pocket? You cannot live in the end of your beautiful desires if you are perpetually trapped in the middle of someone else's digital crisis. Let me share how this shift looks in real life. Consider my friend Jennifer. 2 years ago, Jennifer was battling chronic fatigue and deep anxiety. She wanted desperately to heal, to feel vibrant, but she spent 4 to 5 hours a day doom-scrolling health forums and reading catastrophic global news. She was continuously downloading the frequency of illness and fear into her quantum field. We worked together to change her morning routine. Instead of reaching for her phone, she began reaching for the feeling of health. Before opening her eyes, she would lie in bed and, as Neville Goddard advised, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. She imagined the sheer physical vitality of running on the beach, feeling the sun on her skin, and breathing deeply. She felt the gratitude of a healed body. She elevated her emotion and married it to a clear intention, rewiring her brain before the environment could dictate her state. Within 3 months of this strict digital fasting and daily frequency elevation, Jennifer didn't just regain her energy, her doctor was astounded by the normalization of her blood markers. She had literally signaled new genes in new ways by changing her inner environment. Or look at Steven, an entrepreneur who felt entirely blocked financially. He was addicted to checking his banking apps and comparing his progress to billionaires on social media. Every time he opened his phone, his body registered a biological dopamine prediction error. He hoped to see money, saw a low balance instead, and his brain punished him with a drop in dopamine, creating a craving to check again. It was a cycle of pure lack. Steven decided to stop searching without and start feeling within. He deleted the social apps and limited checking his accounts to once a week. Every morning, he sat in stillness, aligning his heart and brain, and visualized the exact amount of money he wanted to manifest. More importantly, he practiced feeling the relief, the generosity, and the freedom of having it now. By stepping out of the unpredictable dopamine loop of his phone, his nervous system relaxed into a parasympathetic state. He became a vibrational match to abundance. 6 weeks later, a casual conversation in a coffee shop, an intuitive nudge he would have missed if he had been staring at his screen, led to a partnership that tripled his business revenue in a single year. This is the power of reclaiming your attention. When you unplug from the matrix of cheap dopamine, you plug directly into the infinite intelligence of the universe. How your brain gets hijacked. To free ourselves, we must first look at the trap with deep compassion and scientific clarity. You are not weak-willed because you find it hard to put your phone down. You are simply bringing a prehistoric brain to a digital gunfight. Dopamine is the molecule of pursuit. It creates a deep biological itch that demands to be scratched. In the modern world, the tech industry has weaponized this biological mechanism. The smartest minds, backed by supercomputers, are utilizing this exact neuroscience to hijack your attention. When you hear that familiar ding from your phone, your brain releases a spike of dopamine. It's a chemical whisper saying, pay attention, something important for your survival or social standing is right here. But here is if the notification turns out to be mundane, just a promotional email or an irrelevant update, your brain experiences a dopamine crash. This crash feels like a tiny, almost imperceptible emotional dip. And what does your brain do to fix that dip? It urges you to keep looking. Maybe the next notification will be the one? Keep scrolling. There is an ancient Buddhist concept called tanha, which translates to thirst or craving. It is described as the root of human suffering, an unquenchable desire for things to be different than they are. Thousands of years ago, without the benefit of fMRI machines, spiritual masters understood the dopamine trap. There is a beautiful Hindu fable about the Kasturi Mrig, the musk deer. It is said that at a certain age, a beautiful, intoxicating scent begins to emanate from the deer's own body, specifically from its navel. But the deer doesn't know the scent belongs to itself. Intoxicated and driven mad by the desire to find the source of this exquisite fragrance, the deer runs wildly through the forest, searching under rocks, chasing the wind, exhausting itself until it finally collapses and dies, never realizing that the treasure it was desperately seeking was inside itself all along. When we are caught in the dopamine loop, we are the musk deer. We are furiously scrolling through feeds, hunting for a fleeting sense of connection, a hit of validation, a moment of peace, unaware that the kingdom of heaven is, and always has been, within. The reward loop behind likes and notifications. Have you ever wondered why you can mindlessly scroll through an app for an hour, but reading a book for 10 minutes feels like a monumental effort? The answer lies in a psychological concept called variable ratio reinforcement. In the 1950s, psychologist B.F. Skinner conducted famous experiments with rats and pigeons. He put them in boxes with a lever. If the animal pressed the lever and received a pellet of food every single time, they would only press it when they were hungry. But Skinner changed the rules. He made the reward unpredictable. Sometimes the rat pressed the lever and got nothing. Sometimes it got one pellet. Sometimes it hit the jackpot and got a cascade of food. Under this unpredictable schedule, the animals went crazy. They became obsessed, pressing the lever compulsively, ignoring sleep, ignoring other activities, just to see what the next press would bring. Dopamine floods your system, you scroll some more, nothing, 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 and then a friend likes your photo. Another dopamine hit, you are being conditioned, dear friend. Your beautiful, divinely orchestrated mind is being trained to seek validation and fulfillment in a digital void. When you post a photo and wait for the likes to roll in, you are outsourcing your sense of worth to a computer algorithm and the fleeting whims of strangers. You are doing the exact opposite of what Neville Goddard taught. Instead of assuming your own worth and living from the end of self-love, you are asking the external world to dictate your internal state. and the external world is a fickle, unreliable mirror. Every time you give in to the reward loop, you are subtly pulling your energy away from your highest potential. You are trading the deep, resonant joy of your own soul's purpose for the cheap, fleeting thrill of a red notification badge. You are trading your birthright of inner peace for a momentary distraction. Why, just one more scroll never ends. It's 3 a.m. You know you need to sleep. Your eyes are heavy, but your thumb has a mind of its own. Just one more video, you tell yourself. Just let me check the news one last time. 30 minutes later, you are still scrolling. Why does just one more never work? It fails because the digital realm is designed as a bottomless bowl. In a famous study by behavioral economist Brian Wansink, participants were served soup from bowls that were secretly connected to tubes under the table, slowly refilling the soup as the person ate. The people with the bottomless bowls ate 73% more soup than those with normal bowls, yet they didn't feel any more full. Because there was no visual cue that the bowl was empty, their brains never received the signal to stop. The infinite scroll feature on your phone is the bottomless bowl of information. There is no natural stopping cue. There is no bottom of the page. The content just keeps loading forever. But there is a deeper, more spiritual reason why the scroll never ends. It is because you are trying to satisfy a spiritual hunger with a digital calorie. The philosopher Blaise Pascal famously wrote that there is a God-shaped vacuum in the heart of each man which cannot be satisfied by any created thing but only by God the Creator. Whether you call it God, Source, the universe, or your own higher self, there is a profound stillness and vastness within you that yearns to be acknowledged. When we feel a moment of boredom, sadness, or anxiety, that is actually a beautiful invitation from your soul. It is an invitation to go inward, to feel your feelings, to breathe, and to realign with Source. It is a moment of contrast, designed to help you launch a new desire for what you truly want. But instead of accepting the invitation, we reach for the phone. We use the dopamine of the scroll to numb the discomfort of the present moment. We try to fill the infinite void with finite distractions, and because a TikTok video or a news headline cannot possibly satisfy the soul's yearning for connection, the brain says, "That wasn't it, try the next one." And so, we scroll. We scroll away our evenings. We scroll away our presence with our children. We scroll away the quiet moments where our greatest ideas and intuitions are trying to reach us. Lao Tzu, in the ancient Tao Te Ching, wrote, "The 5 colors blind the eye, the 5 tones deafen the ear, the 5 flavors dull the taste, racing and hunting madden the mind. Precious things lead one astray. Therefore the sage is guided by what he feels and not by what he sees." Thousands of years ago, the wisdom was exactly the same. When we overload our sensory inputs, when we are constantly racing and hunting for information and validation online, we madden the mind. We become blind to the miracles unfolding right in front of us. The gentle pivot. The purpose of understanding this trap is not to feel guilty. Please, let go of any self-judgment you might be holding right now. You are doing the best you can in a world that has spent billions of dollars engineering systems to capture your attention. The purpose of this awareness is liberation. As Dr. Dispenza says, the moment you become aware of an unconscious habit, you are no longer the program. You are the consciousness observing the program. You have just taken your power back. Imagine if you began to treat your attention as your most sacred currency. Imagine if, instead of spending it carelessly on the slot machines of social media and bad news, you invested it deeply into the quantum field of your own dreams. What if, the next time you feel the urge to pull out your phone in a moment of boredom, you simply paused? What if you took one deep, conscious breath, felt the life force tingling in your hands and feet, and whispered to yourself, "I have everything I need right now"? This is the beginning of the shift. You are about to embark on a beautiful journey of reclaiming your mind. You are going to learn how to starve the distractions and feed your destiny. You are going to remember how to live not as a reaction to a chaotic world, but as a deliberate, conscious creator, aligned with the loving intelligence of the universe. The trap has been exposed. The door to the cage is open. All you have to do is take a breath, leave the phone on the table, and step out into the infinite expanse of your own true life. Let's walk out together. If these words resonate with you, I invite you to walk this path with me. This first chapter is just the beginning of a journey designed to help you reclaim your mind and your life. Over the next 9 chapters, we are going into the mechanics of your focus and the path back to presence. The next chapters are Chapter 2, the digital leeches in your pocket. We identify the apps and habits quietly draining your mental energy every single day. Chapter 3, Addicted to Bad News, an exploration of why our brains are wired to seek out crisis and how to break the cycle of doom scrolling. Chapter 4, When Attention Fractures, understanding the science of how constant interruptions are physically changing the way you think. Chapter 5, The digital disconnect, examining how being constantly connected is actually isolating us from real human experience. Chapter 6, recognizing dopamine burnout, how to spot the hidden signs of mental exhaustion before they take a toll on your health. Chapter 7, the power of mindfulness, practical, grounded techniques to anchor yourself in the present moment, no matter the chaos. Chapter 8, breaking the cycle, a step-by-step guide to resetting your nervous system and reclaiming your sovereign attention. Chapter 5, rebuilding a centered life, designing a daily routine that prioritizes your peace and fuels your deepest purpose. Chapter 10, living free and present, mastering the art of using technology as a tool rather than letting it use you. To everyone who has supported me, thank you. If you see the value in these tools, I urge you to share this with someone who needs to hear it. Whether it's a friend facing burnout or a loved one lost in the digital noise, your share helps this mission reach those who need it most. If you're ready to stay aligned, please like and subscribe. You can follow my journey and ask questions directly on social media on x.com, YouTube, Telegram, and Instagram. Thank you.